Guys, so I was thinking, why should we only have to do one video a week? If we want, we can do more, I guess, because I really wanted to tell you guys my reviews of Mockingjay and the Infernal Devices, which are two books that just came out, and I know Claire has probably read the Infernal Devices, book one, the Clockwork Angel, I think, and I think Hunter's read Mockingjay, so I just wanted to do the reviews for you. The first one I'll do is Mockingjay. I started out kind of worried because I had read, or I'd seen that there was a review on YouTube and that it wasn't very good. I hadn't actually watched it, but I knew that they thought it wasn't that good. So I was a little bit worried. And when I started, I got even more worried because I wasn't sure if I would like it. I was annoyed that she was kind of crazy sounding, and I was also disoriented just because I hadn't read Catching Fire since, I don't remember, probably when it came out, which was a while ago. And I don't know if it was just the book or that, but I was really disoriented at the beginning, and I was extremely frustrated that she sounded so insane. But the middle of the book I liked, and I was definitely more encouraged, and I read it all in one sitting, so obviously I liked it. But skip to the ending, I hated the ending. I hated it so much. And by the time I was about to start the epilogue, I just really wanted her to end up alone. It sounds kind of cruel, but I didn't think either Peeta or Gale was good for her at that point. And sticking her with Peeta at the end, that was bad enough for me, but adding kids, I can feel some nausea coming on. I could not believe that she would have kids. It just seemed so ridiculous to me. And I think maybe Suzanne Collins was trying to give her a happy ending, but I think she ended up with a weak character at the end. Also, I thought that the way she got rid of Gale was ridiculous. It seemed so cheap just to kill Prim and make it seem like it could be his fault, but maybe it wasn't, and that was why Katniss couldn't be with him, and she just couldn't be bothered to figure out if it was really his fault or not, which it seemed like something she wouldn't do. So I didn't like that. And I felt like towards the end, actually, when she was burned and she was recovering, and even before that Katniss was acting kind of like Tally from the Ugly series, and I liked it. I enjoyed that because I enjoyed both books because I felt like they were causing irreparable damage to their characters, but in the end they made them stronger. But then the Katniss at the end of Mockingjay was all negated by her being with Peeta. It just didn't seem like a good ending. I just didn't like it. But even though I just totally tore apart the ending of that book, I did enjoy it up until that end. If I could just leave out the epilogue and have her end up alone, or even with Gale, I mean, obviously I like Gale more, but honestly, if she just ended up alone, I would have been happy. So, that was what I thought. So now the Infernal Devices, book one, Clockwork Angel. I loved this book. I don't think I couldn't love it because I've been waiting like 2 years to read it, so yeah, I really enjoyed it, but I think there were some big problems with it still. I think the biggest one was that Cassandra Clare really writes books that are continuous series, and they can't be read alone, and she sets up an overreaching plot that is really brilliant and enjoyable, but she gives us a wimpy plot for the singular books, if that makes sense. And in this case, I thought the plot of having De Quincey not being the Magister and Mortmain being the villain at the end was really disappointing in itself. And I just couldn't enjoy that, but I can get over it because I know that there's a bigger plot throughout the whole series, and even though the books are coming out over the next 2 years, I know that they'll be good, and there will be a really interesting plot in the next two ones. But that's the problem, really. She didn't resolve any important overreaching plot points besides Jem's addiction. We don't know who Cicely is. We don't know what Tessa really is, or how she was made. We don't know what was in the box that Will remembers opening, and what was with the cliffhanger ending. I hated that. I wanted to strangle someone. I really hated that ending, even though it had Magnus, who I love, but I hated the ending. Just like Mockingjay, I have a problem with these endings. Tessa's character annoyed me, just because she had such a typically 19th century attitude to the way women should act. On the other hand, I admire Cassandra Clare for keeping that historical detail in, because that really was what women thought, but it grates a little when Tessa is gasping over a Shadowhunter woman wearing pants, and yeah, it was still kind of annoying. It makes me miss Clary Frey, who was obviously more modern-minded and could accept that more. I didn't think the book should have been advertised so adamantly as romance, because the first book really wasn't so much. That's not what it focused on. It was not a major theme. And I know it will be later in the next two books, but there were only moments of it, and it wasn't the major plot point. On to the good points, though. I liked that there were so many connections to the other Shadowhunter families from the Mortal Instruments. Like, Will is Jace's great-great-great-great-grandfather or something, and the Lightwoods are mentioned, and a few others are as well. The characters were great. Jessamine was, or Jessamine, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. She was such an opposite of Isabel Lightwood, which I love, because I was afraid that when she was first introduced, she would be just like Isabel, and I was really worried that it wasn't going to be an individual character, but she was totally the opposite, as we saw later. Jem and Will were perfect because they mirrored Jace and Alex, but they weren't exactly the same, and there were so many little details that were different that it made them unique and really intriguing. Henry and Charlotte, I liked them and they were really interesting, and I hope there's more about them in the other books, and maybe about like their personal dynamics and their history, because we didn't hear too much about that. But they were great when they were in the scenes. Gabriel Lightwood is one character I definitely want to see more of and understand more fully, because there wasn't much about him, but he seemed to have some kind of vendetta against Will, so that would be interesting. Unfortunately, I think Tessa is probably my least favorite character, which is really bad because she's the main character, but maybe now that she's been exposed to the world of Shadowhunters and Downworlders, she'll man up or something in the next couple books. I don't know, but I'm obviously going to keep reading them because I love them. So I guess I'll see you guys soon. I don't know who's posting next, but yeah, and I might post another video this week before my end of the week, because I really want to show you guys Fitness for Nerds, my response to John. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I'll try. Bye!